Are you or a family member suffering from DNFing books? There's help. Hey, what's up, everyone? So today's topic is going to be about DNFing books and why I personally never DNF a book. And if you stick around to the end, I will tell you about the worst book I have ever read. For the purpose of this video too, DNFing, my personal opinion on it and what I consider DNFing. Obviously DNF stands for did not finish, but I do not consider a DNF'd book to be an unfinished book. An unfinished book will be something that you plan on coming back to. Maybe you just weren't in the mood to read it, or you weren't in the mood to read a 1,100 page book or a 1,200 page book. You were more in the mood at the time to read something 200, so you put the 1,100 page book away and you went back to the 200 page book. And that's so that's going to be an unfinished book. A DNF book will be something that you definitely do not want to read. Basically, the book is dead to you now, and you basically don't ever want to see it again. The reason I decided to actually create this video is I was actually watching another booktuber that I really enjoy, and I just noticed that they had a lot of DNF videos, and I kind of went through their channel because I'm a pretty recent watcher of theirs. And I went through their channel and I just typed in DNF to look through, and they had so many videos about DNFing. In fact, I'll just pick a random month here. Let's just say July. They had a video named something along the lines of all the books I DNF'd in July. And this particular booktuber isn't someone that reads like 8 to 10 books a month or anything, some crazy amount. They just read, they're pretty normal or even low-end reader of maybe 2 to 3 books, maybe 4 a month. So I was kind of like, wow, they have a whole 20-minute video about how many books they DNF'd in one single month. And I'm not going to name any names as far as who this booktuber is. I mean, they did nothing wrong. It's their life, it's their hobby to read. So if they want to DNF books, that's perfectly fine. More power to them. That's great for them. I just want to kind of, it just kind of inspired me to talk about why I don't DNF books, because I really hate picking up a book. Most of the books I get, I don't, get from the library or anything, and I don't borrow for anyone. I purchase them, so I kind of feel obligated to read them. And there's one Stephen King quote, or I thought it was a Stephen King quote. I couldn't find it actually, but it's "Life is too short to be able to read a bad book." And I'm sure you've heard this quote before. Well, it's actually by a gentleman by the name of James Joyce. Apparently he's a 20th century Irish writer. I had never heard of him, so if he's super popular and you know about him, I'm sorry. I don't mean to disrespect him or anything. I just never heard of him before. But that's who I found when I looked up this quote. But I'm 99% sure, unless I just imagined it, that Stephen King did say something along those lines. Maybe he was even quoting James Joyce. But he said something along those lines in an interview that he basically, life's too short to read a bad book, and if a book is not, catching his attention, he'll basically put it away and, never return to it. So obviously, a lot of people have different opinions on this. I have never heard of anyone saying I never DNF books before. Maybe there are. I didn't search YouTube for it, but any of the booktubers I watch I've never seen them say anything like I never DNF books. In fact, I'm probably more in the minority in that category, because if you think logically, why wouldn't you DNF a book? If it's not bringing you joy, why not stop reading it and, read something else? I pick my books carefully. I don't, I typically don't buy books. I do buy books on a whim, but I don't buy books and then think, okay, it's just whatever. Maybe I'll read it. Maybe I won't. That's not who I am. So I pick books carefully, and yeah, you can't, you don't really know if you're going to enjoy the book until you actually start reading it. So when I do buy books, though, I kind of have an idea of what it's about. And even when I'm not fully enjoying it, I do kind of feel obligated to finish it. Now, that might seem a little bit crazy, why don't you just get rid of the book, sell the book? But it's, once I purchased it and it's on my shelf, it's kind of a part of me. It's kind of a part of my library. It's a part of my collection. I never want to, get rid of it, and I don't want it to be sitting there. And if anyone asked about it, say, "Oh yeah, that's a book that I own, but I've never finished it." DNFing a book just kind of feels unsatisfying to me, or the thought of a DNFing book. If I got 3 to 5 chapters into a 20 or 25 chapter book, and I just put it down, I would feel like I would want to know how it ended. I would want to know what the author intended. It would be kind of like, you know, those YouTube videos online that's like the most unsatisfying video in the world, where someone cuts a cake wrong and it's meant to irritate you. That's how it'd feel. It'd be like a buildup and then like no release on how everything came to a conclusion. And there's no right or wrong about any of this. If someone wants to DNF a book, I'm not going to try to convince them not to DNF a book. That's, you know, that's their way to enjoy the art, which is reading. Personally, like I said, I don't DNF books. Will I in the future? There's a strong possibility that I will get to a book that I just absolutely hate. And just to end this video, before we actually get to the book that's in front of me that I absolutely hate yet still somehow own, I do want to say it is okay to DNF a book. Don't think I'm trying to change anyone's mind or anything like that. You know, if you have good reasons for DNFing a book, go right ahead. Even if you don't have good reasons, you know, who am I to tell you not to, you know, what to read and what not to read? You do you. Okay, and now for the big reveal on what was the worst book that I have ever read. And that book is called Mammoth by Douglas Perry. So this book is about a town named Mammoth View that comes under attack, I guess, or you know, some weird stuff starts going on. It's from the perspective of several different characters, and this is not going to be a full book review or anything, because honestly I don't remember much about it, but I do remember it was an absolute awful book. I did not enjoy it at all. I haven't read anything else by Douglas Perry. I don't know how he is, or what kind of books he typically writes, but maybe I'll look him up just to see if something else is just, you know, something else might interest me. I'll see what's out there. But anyways, it's about this town that is basically descending into chaos. And I'll give you, you know, a few seconds here. If you don't want to know how it ends, if you do plan on picking this up, please go ahead and leave the video right now. Okay, hopefully anyone who doesn't want to know how it ends has left. Basically, the ending is that this is all a hoax, and it's a War of the Worlds, Orson Welles style radio broadcast that freaked everybody out, where nothing was really going on in the town, and they kept building up, and then they left you with nothing. They pulled the rug out from under you and said, well, I'm glad you, you know, went through this whole process of trying to figure out what was going on in the town. Well, it was actually nothing really going on in the town. So that's why I hate it. And I picked it up originally for a joint read with my younger brother. And typically we don't do joint reads like that. But we kind of wanted to, you know, read a book together and, you know, have kind of like a mini book club where we could talk about it and discuss it. And yeah, our discussion basically evolved into this book is absolute garbage. So, you know, reader beware on that. If I'm wrong and you think I'm wrong and you've read this book, tell me why I'm wrong. I would love to know. You know, if you enjoyed it, that's great. I'm not going to tell you that you can't enjoy it. It's just personally, I did not enjoy it. I felt there was a lot of buildup with nothing to pay off. And like I said earlier, I never DNF books, and I didn't DNF this. This was really a slog to get through. My younger brother had a lot of trouble getting through it as well. So why did I not DNF this book when it was so boring? Well, it kept building up, and I thought, okay, there's going to be some big reveal, and it's kind of going to all come to a head, and there's going to be a great conclusion. Boy, was I wrong. It was, like I said, it was a terrible ending. There was just nothing there. There was no substance. So this is the end of the video and my thoughts on DNFing books. Like I said a couple times earlier, if you want to DNF a book, you know, that's perfectly okay. It's your hobby. I just wanted to kind of give a different perspective as far as BookTube goes, because while I don't follow a ton of BookTubers, the ones I do follow, I never see them say like they don't ever DNF books. I mean, in fact, I'm pretty sure every single one of them has at least 1 or 2 videos on their channel regarding DNFing. So, you know, those are my thoughts on it. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more reviews, my TBR, stuff like that, please subscribe to the channel. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Chris Digresses or Instagram at Chris Digresses into Books. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.